Logan Sargeant is almost halfway into his second year in Formula 1, and he's very clearly on the chopping block at Williams, with the team looking for a replacement with a lot more experience and pace. Despite his performance being inconsistent and a replacement 100% being needed for Williams, I feel sorry for him. He was put in a difficult position from the very start, chasing his own dreams with a team that only did it because they were greedy and desperate. Nobody is really at fault, but this entire situation speaks volumes about the shitty F2 system and the way drivers are prepared for Formula 1. So let's talk about why Logan has failed in Formula 1 and how bad he actually is, and let's try and set the record straight. Now, I want to begin this by saying that I don't think Logan is World Championship material, and he should not be defended like he is of that caliber. He is not Max Verstappen, but he's not Nikita Mazepin either. He's a solid driver, and I think it's only fair to criticize him if you set the narrative straight and you say it exactly like it fucking is, without the added drama that's unfair to him. The only reason he is in Formula 1 is because Williams got really tired of Nicholas Latifi's poor performance, and because F1 was expanding aggressively into the United States, and Williams had a good opportunity because they had an American driver within their own academy that they could use for marketing reasons. That extra money will help the team restructure itself for the future, and that's why he's currently driving for them. He wasn't ready for an F1 promotion. They speed ran him through Formula 2 in 2022 and basically gave him every session in F1 practice they could in order to get enough super license points for him to drive for them in 2023. He never took the world by storm, but he was promising. Actually, by this point of the year in the F2 standings in 22 and 24, he's performing just about the same as Kimi Antonelli, who is taking the world by storm and is almost guaranteed as a Mercedes driver next year. Logan's F2 run also had a more stacked grid, with drivers like Felipe Drugovich, Theo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Iwasa, Dohan, Fittipaldi, Vesti, just to name a few. Within Formula 2, he has also outperformed Oliver Behmen, who's also basically secured himself a seat at Haas next year and had a great showing in F1 earlier this year, replacing Sainz in Ferrari in Jeddah and getting a P7, which was a fantastic result. So if you deem those two to be good quality drivers that are promising, then by that same metric, Logan is there as well. So why is he not performing in Formula 1? There are a couple of reasons for this, but let's start out with the biggest one. Testing is very limited. Teams are not allowed to run drivers on tracks as they wish, and they have to get creative and squeeze them in on filming days or tire testing days with Pirelli, etc. Mercedes just did that with Kimi Antonelli in Imola in an older generation car, and Red Bull tested out Ricciardo in Silverstone last year for a comeback for AlphaTauri in a Pirelli tire test. He was registered as a reserve driver and he could hop in for that. Oliver Behmen has previous sessions with Ferrari where he has tested their older cars. Williams is not on that same caliber and do not have the means to put drivers through tests like this. So outside of a few FP1 sessions, you don't really get that much time to prepare for an F1 drive. Take Jack Doohan in Canada 2 weeks ago as an example. He took Ocon's seat in FP1 for a young driver test and saw very limited running because of the weather and not wanting to use up the tire allocation for that week. They're also not allowed to test fully in that year's car, because if you have a couple of parts in development, you could technically squeeze them in and basically cheat the system. So therefore, you cannot use that year's car if you want to train up a young driver. So when Logan was preparing for Formula 1, he could not use the 2022 spec car with the new ground effect system. He had to prepare himself in older generations of cars, which are completely different. So he's starting out on the back foot from the beginning. The other main reason for his performance is his teammate is extremely overqualified for that Williams car. Alex Albon is a really good driver and has way more experience than Logan. And given that your teammate is your biggest rival in Formula 1, you can't exactly expect Logan to be on the same pace as Alex from the start. Alex Albon drove with Max Verstappen and got smashed by him. In 17 races as teammates in 2020, the average qualifying delta between Max and Alex was 0.7 seconds, which is huge. In 2021, Williams had a qualifying gap between Russell and Latifi that was on average 0.7 seconds as well. In 2022, that gap was 0.4 seconds on average between Albon and Latifi. The difference between Logan and Albon last year was 0.5 seconds. This year, you can clearly see that there is an improvement, and Logan has on average been closer to Alex with 0.3 seconds after 9 races, but it's still not enough. If the team was a bit more balanced and you had, say, Zhou Guanyu and Logan Sargeant on the same team, then I think Logan would actually outperform Zhou and be the better driver. The biggest qualifying delta in F1 at the current moment is between Bottas and Zhou, where Bottas is smashing his teammates. Then comes Verstappen and Perez, and that in itself is a massacre over multiple years. So the Williams duo is not actually too far away from being considered a close battle. Keep in mind, this is only qualifying pace, which is Logan's biggest weakness. Their race pace is much closer than this. Logan simply lacks the ability to push his car to the limit, and that is Alex Albon's advantage, the experience to know when and where to push. So on top of limited testing and an overqualified teammate as a direct comparison, you also drive for the worst team on the grid when it comes to logistics and facilities. Williams are so far behind the rest of the grid when it comes to basically everything off track. Only this year have they made steps to actually improve for the future and set a target goal to return back to the top. We all heard about the Excel sheets in the winter break and what the development chaos looked like at Williams. So you can accurately assume that Logan has not had the best of help with improving his craft in the simulator or with race data, etc. And with all of that going on, he has still shown signs of improvement. The conclusion to this video is that I think that Logan Sargeant should be replaced at Williams. They need a faster, more experienced driver right now to set the baseline for the future. But I also want to add that most of the criticism that Logan has gotten over his 16 or so months in Formula 1 is extremely overblown and not grounded in reality. In my view, Logan Sargeant has performed decently given the circumstances, and he has impressed me more than F2 champions like Nick de Vries or Mick Schumacher has, and both of those had more resources and experience than Logan, with easier teammates to beat. Logan's performance in Formula 1 should be a warning to all F2 drivers that look to take an early seat in Formula 1 without being ready. There is a high chance that both Kimi Antonelli and Oliver Behrman come into F1 next year and flop hard. This sport has become way more brutal for new drivers. The pressure from social media is massive. The teams cannot babysit drivers forever with the cost cap and constant need to outdevelop their rivals. From now on, you better be fast from the get-go like Oscar Piastri, or you simply won't survive very long. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about Logan's F1 career. Is he judged unfairly, or do you think the criticism is fair? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.